Welcome to the Hog's Thigh. It's Monday, April 11th, and that means the draft is just 17 days away. That means in a little over 2 weeks, we'll see McLuhan's master plan to replace our plethora of released free agents. You want a mock draft? We got a mock draft. 3 of them. Stick around for the Hog's Thigh's picks for the class of 2016. Plus, we asked you how you would draft. Are you a BPA or draft for need type? The results of our listener poll are coming up, plus the latest and greatest in burgundy and gold acquisitions. It's the Hog's Thigh, and we'll be right back.
It's the Hog's Thigh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another wonderful episode of the Hog's Thigh. So excited to be back after a slight pause here. We're a couple days late with our latest episode, but ready to get right back into it. So, my name's Sean Conti. I got the crew here, Mr. Robbie Duncan.
What's up?
Mr. Steve Thomas.
Were you just, discounting one of us in your intro there? Because you said we did 3 mock drafts, and last I checked, there's 4 of us. So who do you?
I'm not counting my own. mine counts for 0.
Is it that?
We'll get into an explanation.
System.
Yeah. I'll explain more about why mine means nothing later.
I just want to make sure you can count. That's all.
Well, I have trouble with that too, but that's not the issue today, Steve.
1, 2, 5.
3, 6.
Yeah. And Mr. Alex Zeese is here too. Let's not forget.
Happy Daryl Green birthday to you, Sean.
Ooh, what a call out. Nice. That's awesome. Well, shit, like we said, we got a full docket for the day. We've got lots of mock drafts to go over. We have a couple user polls to talk about that were really, really cool. We got lots of good responses, so thank you for doing that. And a couple acquisitions that the Redskins have made that we didn't get a chance to talk about in depth last time. So we're going to talk about all those things. But, shit, guys, anything new before we jump right into it? What's new in life?
Did you see Jordan Spieth die a painful death at the Masters? Anybody saw
No,
that?
I do.
No.
This
I
guy-
haven't
That's
watched
crazy.
golf.
This
Sorry,
guy
Robbie.
is leading going into the back 9 on Sunday. He quadruple bogeyed 12, lost the Masters.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. And I don't know anything about golf, but I understand that guy's like the up and coming, like the shit, right?
Yeah, he's kind of the modern day Tiger Woods a little bit, and he went down in spectacular flames yesterday.
Ouch. Ouch. Well, our thoughts are with you. We know what it's like to go down in flames around here, so good luck to you,
Yeah, we
Jordan.
do.
Well, we have lots of mock drafts coming up. That is what's on everyone's mind because, again, we're about 2 weeks away from a 2016 draft, and the Redskins have been pretty quiet in free agency, so this should be a pretty cool draft, if I do say so myself. So what we figured we'd do is we've all done mock drafts. Again, mine is meaningless, and we're going to go over our picks, and we'll have to see. We'll also post these online because we're going to throw a lot of names at you today, so we'll post these online afterwards. But stick with us because we're going to take you through our picks for the new draft class. Drum roll, please. Yeah, it's time for the Hog's Thigh mock draft. Who wants to start us off?
Let's start out with our expert, Robbie.
Well, I mean,
I would agree
you
with
guys
that,
go ahead.
and I will go opposite Robbie at the very end caboose position. So, Robbie.
I say you guys go.
Okay. Well,
okay.
Anybody
Well,
who
how
wants
do
to
we
I'd like
pick.
to hear what, I'd like to hear what you guys
Okay.
think first.
Okay.
do we
Hey,
wanna
I'm
go round
shameless.
by round, everybody?
Well, yeah, let's do that. But I think the order we need to go in is Sean, me, Alex, and Robbie, because Sean knows nothing about college players. I know some, but
Absolutely.
I don't pay as much attention to it as Alex, and Robbie's our expert. So let's go from dumb to smart.
Okay.
I like that. That's a good plan.
Round by round, dumb to smart.
Okay.
All right. So round 1, position 21. This is your first dumb pick. Again, dumb pick. I selected Emmanuel Ogba from Oklahoma State. That's a defensive end, and my only rationale there was to get. I know we've made the mistakes of drafting guys on the end there a couple times in recent history, but I still feel like we have a major inability to get to the quarterback, so that is what I kind of prioritized first. So that's who I went with.
All right,
Let's hear your thoughts, Steve.
mine.
Steve just
About
opened
the-
like a
about-
2-page
about-
Oh
piece of
well,
paper.
yeah. Well, I've got.
he did.
I've got about 15 pieces of paper here, actually. Well,
Hold on, before you go, Steve, to create the visual for you guys at home, Steve is an old school dude who doesn't believe in rapidly moving back and forth with computer tabs, so he's got a printed Bible here that he's going to take. I have no idea how you even keep that organized.
It looked like he was
I-
opening up a map.
Yes,
All of my don't
he's a
you guys
lawyer.
know, all of my notes I have for this show are always printed. Most of them are handwritten, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
open my
kooky,
Bible.
man.
No, I mean I like the idea of defensive line. I'm not too excited about another pass rusher because I think
Yeah.
we need other type of talents on the defensive front rather than pass rushers. So
Sure.
I like the effort, and I wouldn't balk at the guy having joining the Redskins, but that's not who I would pick.
Sure.
Good sack guy. I think he put up 10+ sacks a year every year that he started. But my concern is just the size. If we're going back to a normal 4-3, sure, a 275 defensive end is normal. But I'd worry about him trying to move inside.
He's not a good replacement necessarily for Jason Hatcher, though Jason Hatcher never really did anything.
No.
He's not a
that's
replacement
true.
body type.
Yeah,
for
I
that.
think you
Yeah.
could be a replacement for Jason Hatcher's production, Sean. Honestly.
Yeah, yeah, you're right about that. And I'm a $160, so sorry, Jason. Not meaning to throw shade at you, buddy.
Robbie, what'd you think of
All
it?
I would not mind getting another pass rusher. I've been saying it many times. You watch the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You can't have too many pass
Yes,
rushers.
you can.
Or you go back and watch the Giants when they beat the Patriots both times. They had pass rushers that got to the quarterback, and it was just like a full stable of pass rushers, and the offensive line couldn't stop them. I think that's a big key thing about a defense that it kind of gets overlooked. Mm-hmm. You can't have too many guys that are good at getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, and we've just been so bad at it,
Yeah. Well, I blame more the 3-4 for that than anything. That's just me.
Yeah, probably not wrong.
Yeah.
Combination of bad personnel and not the greatest
Bad coaching.
strategy. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and we also have a defensive coordinator who doesn't really believe in blitzing too much either. So it's
That's gonna hurt everyone's production.
Well, yeah, I mean, unless you can get pressure, native pressure for lack of a better term, you're not going to see as much pressure on the quarterback as some other teams.
Right.
Sure.
All right,
Sure.
my turn for this, I guess.
Yep.
All right,
Round one.
Hit it up.
I'm going to tell you who I picked and then who the other players were I considered. So I selected Jaron Reed from Alabama, defensive tackle, inside guy.
So I was looking at him.
Well, and I think he's known more as a run stopper than a pass rusher. He's a two-down guy. He's an interior defensive lineman. I don't know if he's necessarily the greatest one-gap scheme guy, but he's a talented player. I think he's a guy that the team will make him fit in and be productive. Probably be a starter in the interior D-line right away. He will certainly in the beginning come out for obvious third down passing downs, but that's okay. To me, the biggest need on the team, the two biggest needs on the team by far are running back, the running game on offense and stopping the run on defense. And I think
I would agree with that.
I think Jaron Reed goes a long way to that. The other players I considered that were on the board, by the way, folks, we did all these on fanspeak.com. Which I think
good call.
incidentally is
Yep.
the brainchild of a guy from Hogs Haven. If in case anybody, Shoop, he was the Hogs Haven draft analyst. But anyway, I considered Reggie Ragland, inside linebacker, Eli Apple, which has been mocked to us, by numerous sources.
Corner, yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly from Alabama, the center, considered him. At the end of the day, I went with defense because, like I said, I think it's our biggest need. Stopping the run, biggest need on defense.
Sure.
Yeah. And let me just say, in terms of that, Steve, I completely agree about your priorities. I did the exact same thing. I prioritized stopping the run and getting the run generated on offense, too. So I think philosophically we're right there with each other.
My philosophy is I like to take the best player available, but the best player that's within a subset of needs that the team has. I don't believe in just randomly selecting the top guy on the board necessarily if it's clearly like we don't need a left tackle. We don't.
No.
We may need some depth guys, and I'm okay with that. But at the top of the draft, I'm not going to draft a left tackle, for example. I'm not going to draft a quarterback.
Exactly.
Sure. I think
Totally.
we're all actually in agreement with that. That's how I think most teams approach the draft these days.
Yeah, including ours. No matter what Scott McGowan says, that's what he does too.
Right.
What do y'all think of Jaron Reed though?
Well, I'll tell you what I think of him. I made the exact same pick, so I think you're right on the money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
I disagree. I think he's overrated. I think him and the other Alabama running defensive tackle, Ashawn Robinson, both are kind of just overhyped because they are from Alabama. The thing he does have going for him is that he's a senior, and Scott McCloughan loves drafting seniors
Right.
and guys from the SEC. So he's got he checks off two boxes that you can. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes that choice, but I think you can get a guy defensive line wise that's better at both. Than it's good that he's a run stopper and all that, but we need guys that can also be a presence in the middle on passing downs as well.
Well,
and I think a guy like Andrew Billings or even Robert Kandichi. I wouldn't say take him at 21, but a guy like him that can pretty much do it all.
I
More
would've-
on him later, by the way.
I would have picked Billings if he had been there, but
Yeah,
Billings
same
was
here.
gone in the draft I did. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Billings I think
Yeah.
went 15 in mine. So, that
Not as surprising.
no, not
He's good.
surprising.
yeah, he
The
went
other
16
guys-
in mine.
Yeah. Two other names that were top of my board, how they kind of rank them themselves, were the linebacker Lee and the wide receiver Treadwell. I just don't see either of those guys. An outside linebacker and a wide receiver should not be picked by us number one. It's just not.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the last we
our
need.
friend of the show, Rich Tandler, has been preaching for weeks about how we need to draft a wide receiver high to plan for the inevitable departure of either Garcon or Deshaun
There's
Jackson.
a difference between drafting one high and drafting one overall.
For development, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I
Couldn't
don't
agree more.
disagree with you. Yeah.
So Steve and Alex both had that same pick. Robbie, did you give us your pick?
Not yet.
Hit us up with it,
I
bro.
have. All right, this one's going to be a little different than you expect. I had a guy fall to me that hasn't really fallen to me before, so I went with it. A guy named Cody Whitehair.
Guard,
heard of him?
right?
Cody Whitehair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cody Whitehair. He is a do-it-all offensive lineman. He's played all over the place.
Interesting.
He played left tackle for Kansas State, but he very much compares to Zach Martin to me.
Okay.
He can do it all. I think he could even move into center, and he's very versatile, very solid technique wise, and he's a tough player too, and smart. So I went with the best offensive lineman on the board. I think he's better than Ryan Kelly myself, but
I gotta say, I am stunned beyond belief that Robbie Duncan would pick an offensive lineman in round one. I cannot believe
Yeah,
it.
that's crazy, man.
well, here's who was on the board other than him. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, Jack Conklin, Mackenzie Alexander.
Zeke Elliott was still on the
cornerback.
board when you did it?
Zeke Elliott was still on
That's
the board.
surprising.
Yep. Noah Spence was on the board. William Jackson, the third, highly touted corner from Houston. Who else? I mean, Michael Thomas, the Ohio State receiver that a lot of people like. There was it was a tough decision, but I went with the best lineman on the board.
Well,
You can't go wrong with
and
that. at
McLuhan
21.
loves the versatile type of player, so you're probably
Yeah.
on something with that.
Yeah, I mean,
look,
we need to replace
I've picked him a
Laval
couple
at some
times, too.
point. And, yeah.
So
Laval
I've done-
and Lichtensteiger, need to go at some point.
Right. Well, so there you have it for round one. Alex and Steve both took. Oh my God,
Reed. It's okay.
Jaron Reed, right?
Yeah, Jaron Reed.
Yeah. I took Emmanuel Agba, and then Robbie, your pick one more time.
Cody Whitehair.
Boom, Cody Whitehair. Write that
There you
shit
go.
down. Let's move on to the second round, and we'll kind of all go through our second round picks and then talk about it as a big group. So I'm happy to lead it off again. My as I said to you, Steve, my biggest priority was getting that run stopped and getting that run going. So second pick, this is round two, 22nd pick. I took Kenneth Dixon, which is a running back out of Louisiana Tech. This is the only guy that I actually know a little bit about, and I know that he's chasing Monte Ball's record, I believe, at the school. He's kind of a sleeper pick. He's kind of being courted by Dallas right now, as I understand it. But if he falls to us, I think that's a really, really solid pick. And again, that's one of the only guys I actually know anything about that I picked. So Kenneth Dixon, running back out of Louisiana Tech, that was my pick.
All right.
All right. Mine was Derrick Henry, running back out of Alabama.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sensing a trend.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
to me, he's a bigger, faster, stronger, better Matt Jones. He's about the biggest running back you're ever going to see. He's like 6'3", 245 approximately.
Yeah.
I think he can really pound inside. I don't know if he's known so much as a zone run type person, but that's okay. We're sort of moving away from that into a power scheme. I think he's the ultimate power back, and I think he can be what we hoped Jones was going to turn into last year. So I picked Derrick Henry.
Sure.
Same on the board here. Derrick Henry.
Wow.
Give me the
you guys
bowling
copied
ball.
each other's papers, didn't you?
Well, I did kind of email out to you guys my entire list, so
Big mistake.
My list was done before you emailed that, so we did try to do this independently.
okay.
Great minds think alike, guys. Shit. Okay.
Well, I'm breaking the trend here. Sorry. Had a defensive lineman on the board that I really like and went with it. Chris Jones from Mississippi State.
Okay. All right.
Very up-and-coming type defensive lineman. Very much like Preston Smith, only just bigger. He played all along the defensive front. He played defensive end at times. He's just a big dude, and just when he wants to, he's unblockable. And he can move, too. That's the thing. He's huge. He's like 6'6", I want to say 285, 290.
Wow. Okay. So
And-
more of a defensive
and he-
end in our 3-4, but
Yes, absolutely. He'd be a defensive end in our 3-4, and he'd be a monster if coached up right. I fully believe that.
I think
mean,
Chris Jones has a lot of talent for sure.
yeah. I'm not against it, especially if you're going to go offensive line in the first round. You got to get one of these defensive linemen in the second. In this draft, we
Right.
can't come away from this draft without a defensive lineman in the top 2, right?
I mean, it was such a glaring issue last year. I feel like I feel a lot smarter that my priorities are aligning with your guys right now.
Yeah.
I mean, to
You might
me,
not know
my
the exact
priority.
name to pick, but you can know the priority.
Yeah, exactly.
That's part of being a fan.
To me, my
That's
priority
exactly.
was the interior more so than the defensive ends and the 3-4 scheme. So that's why I went what I went. But I think honestly, no defensive line position can be wrong.
Well,
for
yeah.
us.
I mean, my only issue is if you were to, let's say, get a defensive end who's a 260, very small guy. That doesn't fit what we do.
No.
Right.
Well, that would be more of a 4-3 defensive end, and that's not what we
Right,
need.
right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so to recap then three of us took running backs. That would be me, Steve, and Alex. I took Kenneth Dixon out of Louisiana Tech. You two, Steve and Alex, took Derrick Henry out of Alabama. And then Robbie, one more time with your pick.
Chris Jones.
Chris
Jones.
Jones. Write that shit down.
I was kind of surprised
Okay,
that Derrick Henry was available, honestly, at 21 in round
Yeah.
2. I don't
I
think
don't
in
think he
reality
really
that's going to
will be.
happen. Yeah, me
I
neither.
think
I,
too many NFL.
These things are impossible.
Yeah, too many NFL guys will look at a guy that size and fall in love with just the freakish talent in a guy with that kind of build.
I was in
Right.
a pickle though. I mean, it was between. I thought about Kenneth Dixon. I also had Carl Joseph on the board, the safety from West Virginia. He's probably the best safety in the class, but he's got an injury problem with his knee. I almost took him, but Chris Jones is a solid defensive line can make up for a bad secondary. So I went with.
I'm with you on the West Virginia safety. If it wasn't for that ACL, he'd probably be,
He'd be a solid first round
yeah,
pick.
he's got that playmaker potential that is so rare to find these days.
He's a poor man's Earl Thomas.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Nice call
But
out.
ACL,
We don't have good luck with that in this town.
nope.
All right, so moving right along then, we're going to go on to the third round now. That would be the third round, 21st pick therein. I took an inside linebacker here, guys, and my only rationale there seemed like most of the time last year our safeties were like our tackle leaders, something we could not get running backs stopped until they got to the second level. So I want to give a little bit more support to that inside linebacker position. What I came up with was Blake Martinez out of Stanford. I like his measurables. Let's see. I just had it pulled up, so let me just pull it up again real quick. Yeah, he's 6'2", 234. He's bigger than like a Perry Riley. I just like the idea of that, and I feel like with a little bit more support for our inside linebackers, we could probably stop the run a little better. So I'm still drafting, again, for stopping the run and picking the run into the third round. Blake Martinez is my pick.
All right. I picked Zach Sanchez, cornerback out of Oklahoma. I think that we clearly need some help in the secondary. We need some more talent, a talent infusion, for obvious reasons. I mean, we kind of got lucky in that we had Quentin Dunbar, fall out of the sky, just about literally. And, Will Blackman, I know Alex doesn't like Will Blackman, but I mean, Will Blackman fell to us. We need some drafted talent to develop, particularly in light of the fact that Keyshawn Jarrett, has got this weird nerve problem, and, who knows what's going to happen with that. D'Angelo Hall is getting old, out there at safety now. And so I picked Zach Sanchez, not because, quite honestly, I know a ton about him, but he was the top-rated safety, or corner rather, left when I did this. I considered some wide receivers in here. There's some outside linebackers out there, Deion Jones. There's a guard, Landon Turner from North Carolina, that's gotten some decent press. But I thought corner was the biggest need. So Sanchez.
Mm-hmm. All right, my pick. I wish I'd written a pronouncer down for this name. It's a center, Max Turek from Southern California.
Good pick.
I feel like if you look at our O-line, what is the biggest position in need long term? It's going to be finding a good center. I mean, Robbie, you addressed it in the first round. I feel like, but I feel like if we get a guy in the third round, he might not start this year, but you can groom him for a year from now.
Sure.
Yeah, and Turek, by the way, is a mean son of a bitch. You watch him on film, he is all about effort. He's kind of like Brandon Sheriff, only at center.
I like that.
He also was very versatile. He played all along the offensive line there at USC as well.
Nice.
It's your pick, Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, clearly.
Hit us up.
Sorry. Well, in the third round, I went with, where is it? Cyrus Jones.
Cyrus Jones. Good
Alabama.
You like these Jones guys.
Yes, and this Jones guy in particular is a very talented man press cover corner.
Yeah.
He's not I don't think he'll be your number one type corner, but he's a solid nickel corner. He's very athletic. He ran a 4.49 40. It was decent speed. He's very good at press coverage, and which is what we need to kind of get back to, is being more physical on the line at corner. Pressing the receivers, knocking them off their timing for the routes and stuff. And I think he'd be a great addition to that corner back group, like Steve was saying. There's still some question marks there. Dunbar is as much promise as he showed, he still is a bit of a question mark. So we need some more talent there that can help out.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, Rob, I'm sorry to interrupt, Sean, but
no, you're good.
What do you know about Jones versus the guy I picked, Sanchez, if anything?
Sanchez, I don't really know much about him at all, actually. I hadn't actually even seen his name before, to be honest.
Uh-oh.
Maybe I just totally
that doesn't
blew
bode
it
well
and the
for
guy's
you,
missing
Steve.
I know, maybe he's missing a knee or something. But the point is, I think I agreed with your philosophy, which is we need some help in the defensive secondary, and whichever one of those guys that McGloin likes the best, he needs to pick them in round 2, 3, 4-ish range.
Yep.
Sure. All right, well then, in that case, moving right along, let's go to round 4 here. We're in the 4th round. That's pick 22. Look at us picking 21, 22, 21, 22 in the draft. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. It's nice
so,
it has a 20 in it instead of a 0 in the very first number.
Exactly, yeah.
Two double digits.
Yeah, it's nice and symmetrical. Okay, so for the 22nd pick there in the 4th round, I took a safety. I feel like we lost a bunch of safeties in the offseason, which is great because, a lot of them were very expendable. I took TJ Green out of Clemson. TJ Green is not one of the guys I know more about, other than I know he was seriously underrated as a recruit and then came in and tore shit up at Clemson and did actually very, very well. So safety again was my pick here because we just lost so many of them, and it's always been a position that we've struggled with. Although going over all these picks, the thing that concerns me is I have not picked an offensive line player yet, and that fix the O-line was our mantra all of last offseason, so I'm kind of getting concerned for myself saying these things out loud. But anyways, safety was my 4th pick here, TJ Green out of Clemson.
Well, it's funny you mention offensive line because we definitely need to find a center whoever that center
Yeah.
is. Maybe Laribus can become that at some point, but realistically, we need to bring somebody in. And Robbie, you did it. No, Alex, you did it last round with the center
I
from
did.
USC. I picked Jack Allen in round 4 from Michigan State as a center. I think he's somebody that can develop into a starter for us long term. So I passed on some. The big name I passed on was Hassan Ridgeway, the defensive tackle. And the reason I did is because I already got the interior, the defensive lineman in round 1, and I think center is a need we can't pass up. Center is a need we need to find a solution for, and hopefully Jack Allen can do it. So that was my pick.
He's a smart center. That's a good
Yeah.
pick.
I actually, this was the
Wow.
first round where I just went sheer best player available in my mock draft, and it just happened to be Maurice Candy
All right.
from Virginia, the cornerback. I feel like, we can always use more depth
Nice.
there. So,
And he's a tall corner too. He's got a lot
I
of
made a trend of
upside.
when it comes to secondary guys, everyone I picked was 6'2". So, I'm taking the McLuhan cue there.
All right. Well, I went with a running back, C.J. Prosis, or if that's how you pronounce his name. Prosis. I don't know. But he's from Notre Dame, and he's a converted wide receiver that they moved to running back.
So a pass catcher,
He
if you will.
is- His NFL comparison, from what I've seen, is Fred Jackson, which is pretty darn good comparison. If you want a running back like Fred Jackson, he's 6 foot, 220 pounds. He can pretty much do it all. Catch
Cool.
it. The only thing about him is that he's still
Sure.
kind of figuring
So this-
things out at running back, like
Yeah, go ahead.
especially in pass protection. He's a bit of a liability there, but that can be taught and
Yeah.
coached and developed. I mean, he doesn't have to come in and start right away, but he can
Yeah.
get his touches and make
Sure.
and make some plays for us. And I think he'd be a good guy to groom and develop into a more of a lead role at some point.
I agree with the pick. I think we need some more options to fill the lead back role. And I
Yeah.
think we've all of us at
Yeah.
some point in this draft have recognized that need. I think the team. Number one, McGowan said he was going to fix the running game this year, so I doubt he's going to just stand pat. And the team, whether it's Derrick Henry or somebody, or Dixon or the guy you picked, Robbie, somebody's going to be on this team that's got running back behind his name.
Yeah, I don't share the
And
faith
I will
in
say
him.
this, Steve. You and I both picked Derrick Henry early, but
Yeah.
with a running back like that, you kind of need somebody who's going to be that change up. And I don't really think we have anybody who's going to be, in there a lot, speed back.
I think Chris Thompson can do that myself.
I don't know if he can do it for more than 10 or 20 plays a game, though. That's
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. He's a guy that doesn't need 25 carries a game. He just give him the ball.
I'm not talking. I'm talking like
10
just in there for those number of downs. I'm not even saying.
Well, yeah,
the ball.
but remember, I mean, you're only going to have 60 to 70 offensive plays a game anyway.
Yeah.
So if
that's
you
true.
have your change of pace back in there for more than 15
So
or
this is
20,
interesting. I think this is the first round
carries a
where
game,
we've
you're
all
really
picked
probably
a
splitting the
different
carries
position, and
more
I think
so
two
than
of us
getting a
picked
change of pace
offensive
back.
positions and two of us picked
Fair enough.
defensive positions.
I think
believe we picked a
Thompson's
center, a
developing
safety, a corner, and a running back.
good
So we're
each
starting to
year. I mean,
diverge a little bit,
he
which is interesting.
wasn't out for an
Yeah,
extended
that's good.
amount of time.
That's very
this
good.
past
It
season.
proves we
He
didn't all copy
made
each
some good
other's
plays
papers.
for us and pass pro, too.
Though no one would
Yeah,
copy
he
mine.
can do pass pro. That is
Okay,
big. I'll
so
give you
let's
that.
move on to the fifth round there. We're picking 19th, so it's our first time not picking either 21 or 22nd in the round. So for that pick in the fifth round, I took a corner. So I pulled a Robbie. Robbie, you picked a corner in the fourth. I picked one in the fifth. I took Kevin Peterson
That's good.
out of Oklahoma
All right.
State. And for all the reasons we just previously
No.
said that we need
Exactly.
to fill out the defensive backfield there and groom some guys to be solid starters. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially in the fifth round,
Right. You don't necessarily need a guy to come in day one, but you need him to contribute.
Yeah, not in the. Yeah, fifth round. I mean, you're getting lucky if you have a starter.
Right.
I went a little wild card on this one. I picked Tajay Sharp, wide receiver from Massachusetts, and the reason I did is I agree with Tandler when it says we need a wide receiver, but more than that, we need somebody big. Because Jordan Reed's our biggest pass catcher, and he's not even a wide receiver. So Tajay, I don't know if too many people know a lot about this guy, but he's 6'2", 194 pounds, so he's got some size on him. He's not a burner. He only ran a 4.55, which isn't that fast. But hopefully it'll be fast enough. He's got a 33.5-inch vertical. He was a productive wide receiver who runs sharp routes, has got good hands, good football IQ. So I thought he was a good flyer to take in a 5th-round pick in a need position.
Cool.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, in all my late picks, this is probably my favorite that I made, is my 5th-round pick, and that is Miles Kilbrew from Southern Utah. He's a safety. He's probably more of a strong safety. Everything I've read about this guy no one watches him. He plays at Southern Utah. So everything I've read about him is he will beat the hell out of the other team. He likes to hit guys hard. He sets himself up to make those big hits on guys, squares up on them. He has a few issues in, coverage because he's a hitter. He's not a coverage guy. But we need somebody with that nasty streak, and we need ourselves, again, more secondary depth and at safety. I think that's a great pick right there, and he's a demon on special teams.
I'm just impressed that you know so much about a 5th-round pick. That's intimidating.
I did. It's called research.
Yeah, I didn't do that. So
I think
more
Alex
power to
spends
you,
a
bro.
significant portion of each day doing mock drafts.
Yeah,
It's called research and working a good job where you can spend your time reading about mock drafts.
that's a damn good job. That's
And
the
working in
dream.
politics where you can talk convincingly out of your ass.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I was actually on the same page as you, Alex, this time. I went ahead and drafted a safety, and I think this guy could very much be our next, what's his name? Kyshon Jarrett.
Nice.
His name is KJ Dillon, the other safety from West Virginia.
Good pick. I like that. I looked at him.
He's 6 foot tall, 210 pounds. He ran a 4.53 40. He ran a 4.43 in the short shuttle thing, but that's
4.455345.
4.5. He's very athletic. He shows a lot of flashes of being a good safety. He's versatile. He can do a little bit of man coverage here and there, but he does need to improve at tackling, which is why he'll fall to like the 5th or 6th round. But he's got a lot of potential and shows a lot of what's the word you're looking for? Development traits that you can improve on. I think he'd be a pretty intriguing safety late in the rounds that Scott could have his eye on.
I think it's a good pick. I think it's something we definitely need. And we need a safety who can develop. We don't necessarily need somebody who can come in and start right this year, because I think we'll have D'Angelo Halls at free safety for another year or two. But we need somebody who's going to become a starter in the next season or 2 seasons, and that type
With
of guy.
Jarrett's injury, we need to.
I think he's a total wild card at this point, Jarrett.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd also just like to say, by the way, that my quarterback sleeper that I told you guys about a few weeks ago, Brandon Doty, and this mock draft went to the Eagles. Unfortunately, I missed it. I was going to take him, but I missed him. The Eagles got him first. So,
Bastards.
I actually could have gotten him in that round, and I didn't want him.
oh man, you're doubting my expertise. It sounds like.
No, I actually like him. I would rather wait till the 7th round to pick a quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel you there. That was going to be my last pick of the draft. So this is interesting. So here we are, round 5. 3 of us took defensive positions. Steve, you took a wide receiver, but I can't really say I fault any of these in terms of just speaking about position importance. I think we all made solid choices. So that was 1 corner, a wide receiver, and
We're
2
all filling
safeties.
needs. That's what you're seeing.
Oh, yeah, and I think we all pretty much, I mean, it's interesting. We all pretty much, I think, agree on our biggest priorities. So, I mean, whatever that means. We're either all really smart or we're all really retarded.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out soon. Okay, so moving right along, then let's get through the last couple picks here. 6th round, we're picking 12th. This is where I myself took a wide receiver, and I'm just going to be straight up completely honest. When we're getting down to the 6th and the 2 picks in the 7th round, Nobody really knows shit about these guys. I mean, I remember last year, our guys we picked last didn't even have pictures next to them when they were announced. So, it's like you guys probably know a hell of a lot more, but just speaking out of priorities, I took a wide receiver. That's Braylon Addison. He's an Oregon Duck. So,
Yeah.
I
like
generally
the
don't
name Braylon.
trust Braylons of the world, but hey, let's do it.
On behalf of
with you.
Braylons everywhere, they're offended.
All
I
four of
took a
them.
flyer like you, Sean. You're getting to the point where I don't know who these guys are. So I picked Adam Gotsis from Georgia Tech, mainly because his review that I read was a little bit better than DJ Reader from Clemson. Looked like he had a little bit more potential, because I think we definitely need some depth, more depth along the defensive front, and that'll
Sure.
help. So that was my pick.
Totally.
Yeah, like you guys say, you don't really know much. I picked a guy who I've had my eye on just because he's tall, and that is De'Runnya Wilson from Mississippi State, the 6'5" wide receiver.
You drafted
He's
Slender
not
Man.
very fast. He is, yeah, but he is giant, and we kind of need a giant wide receiver, someone who can play on the edges in the red zone.
Do you know his 40
Situational receiver.
time? Do you know what his 40 time was?
It was not good. I think it was like 4.7. I don't remember offhand.
Oof.
But
You realize
it was-
that I was
he had a
close to
bad-
running a 4.7
Yeah,
at
he
one
had a
point in time
bad
in my life.
day in Indianapolis. There, I remember that.
Ouch.
He's this year's Darren Waller from last year. Tall. He was the guy running receiver from Georgia Tech, I think. Just really tall, like a wannabe Calvin Johnson, just not
Yeah.
nearly.
I
as
wonder,
talented.
But
how
if you
how
take him
how
in the
much does
late
he weigh?
rounds and you're just using him in situations, who cares?
How bulky is he?
Yeah, he's I think 210. I don't have
Oh,
it up.
so he's not.
in
I
front
was
of me.
thinking, do you convert a guy like that to tight end, but not at 210 pounds? You don't.
He might be
Because
more
it's-
closer to 220, but
Yeah. Either way,
Well, me and you are on the same page again, Alex. I was going. Here's where I found my tall receiver or big target receiver. I went and grabbed Kyaris Garrett
okay.
from
yeah,
Tulsa.
good player.
6'3", 220 pounds, ran about a 4.5 40. Not elite speed, but he's a good. He's got solid hands. He's a deep threat guy. He can win jump balls. Be a red zone guy that we can throw a fade to, and not to shorter, Pierre Garçon.
Right.
But
No offense to Pierre
I
Garçon,
think
who
he's a-
actually does a good job for his size, but yeah.
yeah, true. But I think he's a guy that we can have in the wings, kind of just developing and not having to force into a key role. He's a guy that can develop and become that eventual replacement for when we lose Garçon and Djax.
Sure.
So I think he's going to be a solid receiver for us if we do draft him.
Okay. Nice. Well, let's move right along. Then let's hop right into the 7th round here.
2 picks.
Oh,
Are we
sixth round.
still in the 6th round?
Oh
We're
no,
on
sorry. Yeah,
seventh.
it
We're
is
on
seven.
Yeah, we're on
Yeah,
seven.
we have 2
My
picks
bad,
in
my
the
bad.
7th round.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that confused
Yeah.
me. Sorry.
No. By all means. So here we are. This is when I just started panicking because I hadn't picked any offensive line players. So I took Tyler Johnstone, also out of Oregon. My last 2 picks would have both been out of Oregon, wide receiver and an offensive tackle. So that was my pick for the 7th round. We pick an 11th overall in the 7th.
Did you say both your picks on the set? I'm sorry. Did you just? we
no,
have 2
I only
picks
gave
in the
one.
7th. You want to do both?
Sure, yeah. And honestly, I completely forgot that we had to, so I just X'd the box. But I'll tell you guys what, I picked a quarterback last overall. I can't remember. I don't know who it is, but that's probably what I'd take last just because.
Some
so,
guy who throws.
there
Some
you have
guy
it.
who throws the ball.
Some dude.
that's bad. That quarterback.
This was my developmental quarterback position here. Cody Kessler, quarterback from USC. Decent gamble at round 7. Not a great quarterback, in terms of NFL talent, but he was in a big time program. He has a very accurate ball. So I think he reminds me a little bit of Colt McCoy, only probably less talented. So I think that was mine. And then I picked a safety for our last pick. I'm going to butcher his name, and forgive me, guys, but Clayton, it was safety, because I think we need a safety. Clayton, Fejedlem. I'm going to say Fejelem. Clayton Fejelem.
Fejelem.
So, yeah, there you go.
It's
Those are my
vagina.
two
Sounds like a
cents.
generic medication.
It definitely wasn't that name, Alex.
All right.
All right.
I picked. You guys know I've been hyping this guy before, and he's been my sleeper quarterback for us. Kevin Hogan, Stanford, local boy.
Not
Plays
wild
in a
about
good
him.
pro system. He has some issues with his mechanics, but if you make him your third stringer and you can work those out, maybe he's good depth in the future.
And he's got Hog in
and
the
then-
name. He's got Hog in his name.
Yeah, he does have Hog in his name.
There you go.
So
Baller
there's
status.
that too.
Not to mention Hogan, like Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan.
Exactly.
Or Hogan's Heroes.
We're gonna get you, brother.
Let me tell you something, brother. I'm going to get drafted to the Redskins.
Hey, I'd take him. I could plug him in at a few positions. Shit.
Yeah, there
He's
you go.
he's 6'4".
I'm going to throw this ball for a touchdown, brother.
He's 6'4". You know, he'd probably be pretty good at football. Something like that.
He is a. I mean, he looks like a good quarterback. I don't know why he's ranked so low. I guess
I
it
think
is
he's got
mechanics
mechanics.
issues.
I'm not a big fan of Hogan. I think he has mechanics issues more than anything. You know, he came from a program that features, you know, a strong running game.
Sure.
You know, good offensive line. I'm not sure he's a guy. I mean, you're drafting him in the 7th round to be a developmental quarterback, and that's fine. You know,
Right.
obviously.
I'm drafting him to eventually replace Colt McCoy in 3 years.
I
That's,
picked
you
Kessler
go.
over Hogan because of probably my Pac-10 bias more than anything. But I think Kessler's a guy who can fit our system better. That's really honestly.
you mean
that's-
Pac-12, and they're both from the Pac-12.
Well, yeah,
So-
you're right.
Mic
But
drop.
Hogan's a local guy, you know. And,
Yeah.
You know.
That really actually plays a part of it. And my
Yeah.
other one, also somewhat local, Luke Rhodes, inside linebacker at William and Mary. Just because, why not? Probably special teams help.
Yeah.
Linebackers make great special teamers.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah.
It actually kind of makes sense at the end there to pick a nice versatile, somebody who can really maybe not contribute on the offense or defense, but contribute in special teams. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And Robbie's future Hall of Famer is.
Here's my favorite pick in the entire draft, actually.
Oh my God, really?
This is
Yeah,
why Robbie and I are weird. Our favorite picks are all going to be late picks.
If this guy actually does fall to this round, it is the steal of the draft. I swear to God it is.
Oh wow.
Jatavis Brown from Akron.
Position?
Linebacker / safety.
Okay.
You mentioned
Okay,
him on
yeah.
the show before, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
was
he
familiar,
was your
yeah.
sleeper a few weeks ago.
He still is. You watch his film, he is a monster. He's an animal. Flies all over the place, brings big hits, plays a lot bigger than he looks. He's only 5'11", about 212, but he's one of those football players, man. He doesn't have all the intangibles that you look for, but as Scott McLuhan says, he's a football player, and I think that is exactly what Jatavis Brown is, and I think he'd be a big addition to our defense, and special teams too, because he's fast. I think he ran like a 4.3 40. I mean,
Which
the
is
dude
that's
ridiculous.
unbelievable for a linebacker. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that he'll fall to the 7th round. I really see him more as like a 4th or 5th round pick.
I see.
I think
don't
he'll
you
be
think,
right.
Though,
I think he'll get
don't
taken
you think
there.
with his size, he's going to end up being a strong safety?
No, I would love him as a linebacker.
At 212
Yes,
pounds.
Cover. He can bulk up. You can put more weight on him. Eat a sandwich.
Eat a lot of salmon, not just one. He's going to eat a lot of salmon.
But Steve, I mean, you see NFL players do this all the time. They add 20 pounds at the beginning of the season pretty quickly.
Yeah, I guess that's what steroids will do for you.
and then here's my last pick. This one I went with a development type player. I mean, someone that you can stash on the practice squad. His name is Alex McAllister, defensive end from Florida.
Interesting.
He didn't get a lot of playing time, but he still managed to get 12.5 sacks in the 2 seasons that he showed up in. Yeah, NFL.com says he was about 40% of the defensive snaps, so he didn't play a lot. 12.5 sacks in 40% is not bad at all. And he compares a lot to Leonard Floyd, I don't know what you want to call him, every position type player for Georgia. He'd be a linebacker, inside linebacker, defensive end. He's a bigger version of him. He's 6'6", 239. I think he has a lot of potential and could be stashed to develop and become a solid player for us. I don't know if he will, but he's one of those guys that you can take the risk and see what
Now,
happens.
and at that size, you put him on the practice squad. Are you working to make him a linebacker or a defensive end?
Yeah, edge player.
Just edge
Yeah.
player. Okay. All right.
Yeah. He ran a 4.840. He's very athletic, 35-inch vertical jump,
Okay.
or 34.5-inch vertical
You
jump.
don't want to invest too
pretty
much
good.
in that, but okay.
Now, Robbie, I got to ask. I mean, you and I at least have been preaching, developmental quarterback for a while now. You didn't pick a developmental
Yeah.
quarterback. Was that just a function of how the draft shook out?
I mean, I could have, but I think the ones that were left on my board, you could have easily just picked them up, after the draft as an undrafted free
Gotcha.
agent,
Yeah.
and just hope they don't retire. And just hope they don't retire
Mm-hmm.
on you, like Connor Halliday.
Point.
What was that about anyway?
Well, there was a big
A lot of
article
weird
on it,
retirings
actually.
last year.
I read an article about it. It was like mainly that, he kind of lost his love for the game. He wasn't sure that it was going to pan out for him. He wanted to go home to mom. It was a kind of a strange story. I think at the end of the day, he probably just didn't love football. If you gave him truth serum, which is fine. It's his choice.
Yeah. If you fall in love with it, you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Can't blame him.
Mike, I mean, we talked about this back when it happened, but why go through the whole draft process and training and all that just to quit when you make it? You're in training camp, you're there, ready to fight for a roster spot, and then you just
Yeah.
walk
That's
away.
why
true.
not very many people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good point, though.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
There's a
'Cause
lot of
I've
weird
always-
retirings last
I've
year.
always said that, third string quarterback is the best job in the world. Third string NFL quarterback. I mean, my God, how could it get better than that?
Second string long snapper, maybe.
My quarterback from ODU, Taylor Heineke's living the
Yeah.
dream
Yeah.
right now.
Nice.
He's that exact
I
same
mean,
thing.
he's making a nice little chunk of change and just shows up, sweatpants.
Pinching the cheerleaders' butts.
He will eventually become the number 2 behind Teddy
Yeah.
Bridgewater,
Right.
though. Sean Hill's the number 2 guy,
And he's getting up there.
old
And if he does well enough,
Yeah.
maybe he'll get a shot at starting, somewhere else. It's kind of how it works,
he'd be an injury away.
That's the game.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's make sure we throw up all our mock drafts on the internet so you guys can all read them. I know we threw a lot of names at you guys today, so we will post them so you can read them. And again, in order of importance, please listen to Robbie first, Alex after that, Steve after that, and you don't even have to read mine, but if you're bored and you have some time to kill,
It's
go
really
ahead and
sad
click it
that I'm
anyway.
the third person in this discussion.
No, you're the second.
You're the second.
You're the second.
Robbie's our
Whatever.
expert. You were next. I'm next, and then Sean's bringing up the rear.
A
So
very
guys,
distant
just
fourth.
email me each of yours, and I'll throw it up on a spreadsheet or something so we can use that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting. God knows last year we all made picks. I think Scherf was the only person we all successfully picked, and everybody else was different than that. But these things are so crazy. They're so changing all the time, and you never know what's going to happen. So,
I don't think I picked Brandon Scherf.
really?
No, you picked.
He was
on your
radar,
what's his
though.
I
name,
did.
Who got in trouble?
It was Leo
Yeah,
Collins.
Leo Collins.
I picked.
I
That's
picked
right.
Scherf.
That's right.
Scherf I got that one right.
A lot of people did, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It wasn't
By
that
the way,
complicated.
Leo Collins would not have been a bad pick, even with what
No,
happened.
I thought. Yeah, I thought he was the better lineman, to be honest, going into the draft
but
at least.
crazy shit happens in these days.
yeah, impossible to predict. Well, so that's how we draft. Why don't we actually go over to our user poll and find out how you guys would draft? So we presented the question to our followers. Are you a best player available type or a draft for positional need type? And this is the ongoing endless debate. Let's see how the Hogsty listeners shake out on that one.
Okay. 44% of our audience wants to draft best player available regardless of position, meaning the
God.
very best player no matter what they do, 44%. 54% of the people, on the other hand, would like to draft best player available within a subset of positions of need. And then a very small 2% said we need to target a specific position no matter what. So that was that poll. 54%
So
of the people
2%
kind
of
of
our audience is nuts.
Yeah, that. Oh, really? So you're saying the people drafting for best player available according to position, are nuts.
That's kind of what
you disagree with that.
No. Let me clarify.
Is what you're saying.
The 2% was target a specific position, meaning no matter what
Right.
happens, you're going to come away with, say, a cornerback.
I want a wide
period.
receiver. We're cutting a wide receiver. I want a wide
No matter
receiver.
what.
That-
Right.
Yeah.
The 54%
Right.
was BPA in need positions, which is sort of what we all kind of did on our mock draft. The 44%.
Right. See, I'm
I'm
so
write it out on the internet. BPA @PON.
So
then
people might have just been
44%
straight up confused.
Yeah, well, and the 44% was best player available, period, no matter what the position is, which is to me
Does
is
that
just a little. That's nuts. That's crazy.
Does
I
that
think.
surprise Alex and
unrealistic.
Robbie as much? Like, that shocks me.
At 44%, it does shock me. I mean, but those people have always been out there. We're all on the message boards. We know those people. We know who they are.
Yeah,
at
you're
BI.
right.
And, that's all they do.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
you're
these
right,
people
actually.
need to understand that a very important fact. Everybody cites Scott McGowan always saying he takes the best player, and but this is very important. I want everybody to listen.
Right.
General managers lie. Okay, general managers are not going to disclose their draft strategy to Rich Tandler because he asked a question. Okay, every team out there at some level or another will take into consideration what positions they need.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I agree. And we saw it last year. Even though he was saying best player available, Scherf wasn't necessarily the best guy at 5, but he was the best pick for us at 5.
Yeah. I would
without
agree with that.
question.
And it's working out so
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
I trust him.
I think we would all like to see a major step up from him this year, but I mean, he didn't. It's not like he shit the bed last year, to use a very crass phrase.
No.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
So I think this year will kind of tell the story on Sheriff, but yeah, that is very interesting. So as I understand it, we have a couple other user polls, Steve. And by the way, I love these. These are super cool. So let's keep doing them. And thank you for participating at home if you did. But Steve, tell us what else we got going on here.
Okay, I've got 2 more polls to go. The next one I did, very controversial player Robert Kimdichie is a guy who's gotten a lot of press because he's got a ton of talent. He's, as Robbie's told us, he's got top of the first round kind of talent. If you top 5 talent, if you put him in a bubble. The problem is he's had all sorts of problems. He fell out of a 4th floor of a hotel window with marijuana found on him. He's had a lot of criticism for consistency and effort. So he's a real kind of red flag, sort of a red flag guy. So I was curious as to how the audience felt about him. So I gave him options here. Should we draft Robert Kimdichie in the first round if he's available? Should we draft him, but only in the second round or lower, meaning you eliminate him from the first round board? Or should we just absolutely do not draft him no matter what? He's too risky. Don't draft him. It says, as it turns out, 71% of the people of our audience said yes, draft him, but only in the second round or lower, meaning do not draft. He's too much of a risk in the first round. 15% of the people would eliminate him completely from the draft board, which is not where I personally would fall. And then 14% of the people, first round talent, draft him first round. That was the results of that one. What do y'all think?
Well, go ahead, Robbie.
I'm the unpopular opinion here, but I really think you draft him and put him in that locker room with Chris Baker and Ricky Jean Francois. I think we have a solid locker room that can, take him under their wing and mentor him and be good role models for him and get his head on straight. And if that happened, the guy will be a J.J. Watt type player. That I really believe that. I feel like if it all just clicked for him, the dude would be unstoppable. He's got all the tools you look for in an elite defensive lineman, and he can be that. I don't know. I'm all about talent. I tend to look past character problems and and stuff like that. If they have the talent, I like to think that if you put them around good people, then hopefully things can change. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu changed. He made a big change and is an all-pro now.
Sure.
Go
ahead.
I guess I take the complete opposite approach. I think for every Tyrann Mathieu who has succeeded, and I think, as you guys know, years ago I said if you give me 3 years of being a good citizen, I'll forgive Tyrann Mathieu for his discretions, and so I'll eat my words on that one. But I think character matters, and I think it matters to Scott McGloin more importantly. That's not to say you shouldn't take a chance on a guy, but I think it would be downright foolish to take a chance on a guy who not only has the drug problem, the drug issue that came up, but also has questions about his effort and lack of consistency. You throw all that together, to me, that's not a guy. You want a surefire winner for number one overall draft pick for our team.
And I agree with that.
I don't think he's that talented I don't think he's so talented that you're going to be kicking yourself for it later. We're going to get a good player at 21,
Yeah.
I'll be kicking myself if he gets like taken in the 4th round and we didn't.
Well, that
take
I
him.
agree with.
I feel
Yeah.
like if he falls,
Yeah.
if he falls that far, we have to take him.
I mean,
great point.
I picked that kind of majority position of if he falls, I'll take him in the 2nd round or later. And that's kind of where I would be with him because, like you said, you can't risk your number 1 pick on a bust, on an off-field nightmare. You don't want Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
You don't want that kind of thing to happen. Ryan Leaf,
Oh my gosh.
The pages of the NFL are littered with guys who had crazy off the field issues and were just not motivated superstars who were taken in the 1st round and failed. So
That's a great point. That's a great point. So many people have been burned by that. I would just say I agree with most people, although in a deep draft like this, it seems strange to me if he's too much of a gamble for the 1st round. I'm almost like he's too much of a gamble for the 2nd, too, because this is a deep draft and there's lots of great players available. But if he fell beyond that, I think for sure, because, at that point, talent's really it's worth the gamble. But that's interesting. It's good to know that the fan base is a little bit maybe more cautious and tentative than they might have been a few years back. It sounds like that's a good
I
thing.
think we all remember the burn of Albert Hainsworth a little too much.
It still stings, yeah. So I think we have. Do we have
One
another
more.
poll, Steve, or
Yeah,
should
we
we
have
save
one
that
more.
for next time? It's up
What
to
do
you.
let's just do it
do
real
it, do it.
Yeah, we'll do it real fast because we're kind of
All right,
running
go
out of
for it.
time for this episode. But this is the most interesting one. This is I had to get Robbie's input for this one. Who should we throw out there? The names. If the following players are available at 21, who would you want the Redskins to select? Throw out 5 names actually. Billings, the nose tackle from Baylor, Laquan Treadmill, wide receiver from Ole Miss, Kelly, the center from Alabama, and the 4th choice was whichever outside linebacker is available between the Smith from Notre Dame or Lee from Ohio State. So those were the choices, and the answer was overwhelming amongst our fans. Billings, nose tackle from Baylor, 46%, take him. The next one was another need position, Kelly from Alabama, the center, 21%. Inexplicably, 18% picked the one of the 2 outside linebackers. Don't understand that. And then that was 18%.
That's called trolling, Steve.
I guess. And then bringing up the rear at 14%, Laquan Treadwell, the wide
Dear
receiver
fans,
from Ole
please
Miss.
troll Steve more. It's fun.
You all know that the idea of picking an outside linebacker just at round 1 just terrifies me.
Yes, we know that's why it's fun.
Yeah.
See, I voted for Andrew Billings in this poll, but I would not be surprised in the least if Scott drafted Laquan Treadwell if he fell to us. I don't think he will. I think he's the most talented receiver in this draft, but he doesn't have the speed that you expected. But I would not be surprised if the Giants took him to pair him with Odell Beckham.
Yeah, because that's what the Giants
But,
need is more receivers and not having fix every other problem that they have.
Right.
Yeah, but if he falls to us, I think Scott would be sprinting up to the board if he could to announce the pick. I think he is everything that he looks for in receiver except the speed, and he'd be basically the guy Michael Crabtree 2.0.
Sure.
We could do worse than that. That'd be good.
I like these polls. I've got to say, I like these polls where the fan base is very united and their answer is not stupid. I really like that.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty awesome.
Or
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, that's very
Well,
cool. So
I mean, I haven't read the comments on any of these polls. Has there been any attacking?
just
No.
avoid all
no.
comments.
No. Those who commented had some pretty good insight and
Okay.
generally conformed with a reasonable position. So
Unfortunately,
yeah.
informed complete sentences.
There you go. Look
On
at us.
Twitter?
We've got the highbrow Redskin fans. Nice. All right. Well,
Good for
thank you
them.
guys so much for participating in these polls if you did. And we're going to keep doing that because that seems to be really fun. And you guys are awesome with your responses. So prepare for more and please continue to interact with us. We're really enjoying it. Anyways, so many names. Such a full episode today. We're going to put up some more of this info on the website so you don't forget. Our picks may or may not change as we get closer to draft day. Again, we're about 17 days away. So stick with us in case they do. But in the meantime, we will see you next time here on the Hogsty.